What's going on, guys? It is Sunday, and today, kind of a bittersweet day. Today's going to be the last stream on YouTube for a while. I've got a huge project coming up, and I've got a lot of uh, basically big projects and a lot of focus that need to be going towards my patrons and just inside and outside of actual like toy work and figure work. I still have a few repairs I got to knock out, but I have a gigantic project that's about to be coming out, and it's like I said, it's going to be kind of heavily focused on my patron side. I really feel like I owe them a lot more than I've been giving them, and just whenever the streams do come back, it's going to be better quality, I'm hoping, and a different layout, and just a bunch of things that need to be reworked as far as like just how the look is, the format we're going in the future. And I'd like to also start focusing on like the classes that I had mentioned before, that people will be able to like get tickets to. It'll be small, very small classes. And then I imagine what I'll do is, I let about 5 to 10 people, I think five will be the number, into these classes, and then I'll probably release those videos of the classes of those people that were in there if they feel like they want that. And anyways, just a lot of planning right now and stuff going on, but I gotta take a break in order to do this project for a very special client. Like I said, they're a brand new patron, and they have sent me a job that is just I can't even tell you what it is right now because I'm really excited, but I don't want to spoil it. But so thank you guys for always showing up and whatnot. Like I said, I got to take a break. It's gonna be probably be a while before I get back to these streams in here. But if you're not part of the Discord, please look up the Bill Maru Toychanics Discord. You can go to my Instagram, which is Bill Maru Toychanics, and if you go in my bio in the link tree, there's a link to all the stuff that I do. But also one of them is the Discord. So if you want to keep up with things, what's going on with Toychanics, and talk to me, you can go in there and talk to the rest of the crew Maru, which they're lovely people. Um, please do that. But with all that being said, let's hop into this. Today I got a Frieza that's in need of a shoulder repair. You can see here that the arm broke off of here at the hinge, and basically this is a luckily with these newer designs on these figures is really cool. Um, they're easier to repair just because their joints are thicker. You can see just how thick this piece is right here compared to the old stuff that is super super thin, and so this is very welcomed whenever it comes to repairs. So what we do here is we're gonna start with these end clippers, end nippers, whatever you want to call them. I think those are end clippers. There's probably a better name for those. There's probably a real name for them, but those I consider my close cutters, because that's how that works for me. I'm gonna take some photos here for the client just in case some people want to see that. All right, so we're gonna take these guys here. All right. What's up, my man Billy Moon? I just shipped something off for Billy the other day. It was a SHF figure, and like for that figure, and you guys might have saw this on my Instagram, it has a small wrist hinge on it, and those are you just can't fix those as they are. Like you can't reuse the factory plastic, so I have to remake that from scratch, that half, and so or sometimes mod an existing piece, but usually it's pretty much shaving it completely down. And that's the difference between those and these. These I can actually use the factory plastic, and I'll show you how. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take these, make sure they're on the seams. Okay. I'm gonna be very careful here because you don't want to like split it. You just want to be very careful to kind of get around the seams here. I'm trying to, since it's usually with the smaller ones, it's a little easier to get off. Just don't want to damage the plastic, even though it is hidden. You want to be very careful. There we go. So So now we've got that piece off. And sometimes what will happen, and I don't know if this will show up, maybe I can show you here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. There's like just a little bit of the plastic kind of gets bent in. And what you can do is you can take like a razor blade and just kind of cut right here on that edge if you need to get that piece reflattened, I guess you would call it. We need to make sure that this thing is flat, completely flat, so when we put this thing back on, it fits the way it's supposed to. Okay, and so the biggest issue that we have here is that when this broke off, what happened was it broke off into the shoulder. So the shoulder is still got a piece in there, as we can see here. Luckily, this little guy flips up. I wonder if we could remove this. I don't want to break that, so I'm actually not going to mess with it. So we need to take this piece out right here, which is, I think, part of a butterfly mechanism. And since it's in there so tight, what we're going to do is we're going to take our drill bit and we're going to put this in here. We're going to go ahead and drill it. You want to be really careful when you do this as to not go too far. Sorry, I'm just kind of taking photos as we go here. All right, so you leave it on a lower setting. I'm going to go about 2 with the stylus here. And we're going to do this real quick before I do that. Main thing is we want to make sure that we're drilling into the piece that, like, basically where it broke. Man, this thing is really stuck in there too. We'll see if this works. And it looks like it's bent back here to the back. So basically you're trying to find that flat point where it actually broke off from the disc. You don't want to just go straight in, because then you'd have to be manipulating that piece later on, and we don't want to have to do that. So what I'm doing right now is I have to go in at an angle because that's where the flat side of this is. And it's okay if you drill all the way through that, but don't go too far in there. You don't want to get nuts with it. So now that we've got a hole drilled in there, I'm going to use one of my smaller eye hooks. Okay. Yeah, sorry, Aaron. Yeah, a lot of times at the beginning of my streams, what I do is I start it early, before 2 o'clock's when it goes live. But I start these early to kind of show off my patron list, just as a thank you to them. I guess it's a shout out to those guys just because they are very special to me, and they keep this business basically. It's not even. I guess it's more of a hobby. They keep this hobby going, and that's why I'm gonna actually start kind of focusing on those guys a bit more. I know they don't ask for it. But it just feels right to do that, and to build that special relationship that I got going on with all those people. It's a close-knit group, and we were just chatting literally 2 minutes before this went live. So there's a lot of stuff like that I do for my patrons. It's not really for my patrons. These guys are my friends, but basically they're just there to pay and a little bit of money to support Toychanics, just to keep this stuff going. And it's really cool, man. We see a lot of people get inspired and kind of start their own things, man. Like my guy Ninth Archer Innovations is working on some 3D printing stuff, and I mean, he's just a fetus when it comes to the 3D printing game, and he has been just flying into it. It's been really cool watching him make some stuff and learn this thing that he had no idea how to do before. He's like, yeah, I got a 3D printer, I just haven't hooked it up. And we're like, well, hook it up. I mean, we're always here talking, do it. And he did it. And now he's printing like a freaking wildfire, and it's awesome. So keep your eyes out for that. I'll be showing off some of his stuff very soon. That will be available. And it's just really cool. So anyways, back to it. So what I've done here is I've drilled a hole into this peg that I was telling you about, and I've inserted this eye hook here, and you can see that we're able to move this ball hinge now that's in there, or ball peg, I guess. Okay, and now what we want to do is make sure it's pretty secure in here. And what we want to do is grip this, and let's use some pliers here. It's got some grip on it. And what we want to do is kind of, I got to be really careful with this because I want to pull this straight out, but I don't want to break the butterfly joint either. So I'm trying to figure out what the best, basically you have to probably hold on, I guess, to the back here so this doesn't fly off. Get a hold of this. Oh man, that's really painful. What you don't want to do is bend it out. Anytime you bend a peg like this out, it can end up breaking. I mean, that's actually what happened in the first place. I don't think he was trying to remove it. He was just trying to bend it, and what happened, it went to the side and broke off. Not their fault at all. That's just a QC issue. But if you are trying to remove it, you definitely don't want to like take it to the side if you can avoid it. But so I'm trying to, you can't see because it's stinking shoulder pad. What I'm trying to do is get a nice solid grip right here on the bottom of this butterfly joint, right? So put my thumb right here under the screw, and I'm trying to grip the screw and get a nice solid pull on it. But what's happening is it's pulling against my, man, that's really in there. God dang. Okay, well, we might have to pull it to the side. I really don't want to, but whatever we can do to, I guess the best thing you could do here would be to, I'm gonna have to get this close to my chest to get that grip. We got it. Look at that, I even pulled it out. It's kind of bent a little bit. What you don't want to, the reason you don't want to bend that is because when that screws in that plastic, it's bending, and you don't want to stretch out that plastic. Now, luckily, we are going to be going in from the opposite side, so it didn't stretch out that area, but basically what I ended up having to do here, and you could see there's like a little hole, like a little peg hole right there. That's supposed to give it a little give when it pops in and out. Supposed to, at least. But anyways, we got that guy out. That was rough. This is like a softer plastic, which is great. I mean, like I said, I love this newer design, but it can still be pretty tough to work with. All right, so since that's out, take a photo of this real quick. Just trying to document a process. This is kind of the stuff that I want to make sure that I give to you guys, and like the public view of like Toychanics. Like I always want to keep this stuff as free as possible and as cheap as possible. And like I said, like the classes that I'll be doing, those will be paid classes, but it's education for that. And then I'll keep doing tutorials and whatnot for you guys. I know I haven't done one in forever. I do have one that's kind of lined up right now. As I saw just a minute ago, Maverick 5 UK said, "Hey Bill, I had the same issue with my SHF Frieza. Managed to fix it from the advice on all your videos, so thank you kindly, sir." Absolutely. I don't plan on stopping that stuff. It's just like, it's a slog, man. Like trying to keep up with everything and whatnot. And listen, I'm not a giant business. I never will be. And so I'd like to keep it to the point where I'm not trying to compete with bigger names out there, because there's really not really a whole lot of competition for this, and I don't want it to be. And if somebody wants to try to compete, then that's fine. Not on my end. That's not my thing. I'm here to educate, educate, bring joy, and disagree every now and then with things I don't agree with. I'm only human. Okay, so since we got this out, I'm just trying to see if we can get this thing to screw in the other side. But I think what I'll be doing instead, I don't think this little eye hook is what I want to use. I'd rather use, I think, my medium-sized one. But I got to see just how much room we have to work with here. Like I said earlier, I really do like these things because of how much room you do have to work with, but sometimes you can't use like the stronger eye hooks on here, and I want to see if we can do that. If so, it's better, just because, you know, It's just stronger, which is better. That's the most redundant thing I've ever said. Um, Gosh, it seems like so you can see there, just like um. hmm. Now it looks like we can bring this in. I don't want to over drill this and it just like, let's see. Let me double check here for a second. Let's see what we got going on here. I'm pretty sure if I try to use this one, what's going to happen is it's going to bloat out the plastic, and we don't want that. We definitely don't want that. So that sucks. But I think we can go back to the old trusty small guys here. It's a smaller joint. I just need to make sure that I got one with plenty of threading on it, so we've got a good grab. That's the problem that I ran into. It's like sometimes I don't know what I'm going to get with these smaller eye hooks. When I ordered them, sometimes they'll come with like a lot of threading, and then sometimes they'll come with this like it's like 5 pieces of thread on it, like 5 threadings, notches, and then all of a sudden it goes into this like just that you know, smooth metal piece, and then that doesn't really grab onto anything. That's why I don't ever recommend nails or pins ever, because all they do is you're putting a smooth piece of metal into plastic and there's no friction. There's nothing to grip. It's just that. And I've heard people say that they work, but I've also fixed a lot of those because they didn't use a screw. This one right here, this is a good one. This has like threading from here all the way to here. And so this one will more than likely work. And so what we're going to do here, we're going to take, I always grip it by the threading, and I will grab my needle nose pliers here, and so we'll grab it from the opening to straighten this guy out. You can sometimes get inside of here and just, there we go. Pull it out like this, pull it out here. You don't need a whole lot because this isn't a real, we're not going in very far, but I think this will probably work, and we're looking at about I would say about 1/3 of an inch of work area here of real estate, so that's good. Okay, so with that being done, and I'm pretty sure this guy's already ready to go, we'll double check real fast, and you'll notice how I kept this crazy piece right here off to the side. That's so we can actually get this and grip it, and it gives us something to hold on to. We're going to go in through the outside of the ball peg here to make sure that it's going to fit correctly. It should go all the way in. You want to test it first. I want to make sure this is going to go all the way in. Let's see here. It's got just enough friction in it. Yeah, look at that. That's perfect. That's exactly what we'd want. That might actually be in a little too far. That's okay. We can always back it up. Let's see here. If that was to hit flat, you see, like that's just a little too far because we don't want it to go into the hole like here. We don't want it to come out in the inside, that interior hole there. We want it to be right about there. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and keep this in there. We'll back up the tracks a bit, since we're going to be putting glue on this anyways. Actually, what we'll do is we'll remove this completely because I want to make sure that it fits this guy after we drill a hole in here. So we're going to get a hold of this with our wire pliers. And we're going to try. Now let's try this. Here we go. Take 2. All right. You can see right here, this is where the piece broke off. And it's got a little bit of a ding in it, from which that's exactly what will happen. A lot of times this thing, if it twists off, it can warp the plastic by like, it warps it and then snaps, because of that force. And so sometimes you want to go in and shave it down. Sometimes you don't have to. I personally like to shave it just a little bit. Gives you something a little bit better to grip onto too. And this is just the little spot right here. And this is a pretty weak sanding joint, or sanding bit. I just want to make sure that that's got a little bit of grip to it. Okay, so now we're going to take our drill bit, and I think this is like a 0.7 or 0.6. It's pretty small. It's a little smaller than I normally do, but or this could be a 0.9. Always go smaller than your screw. So these are 1 millimeter, so anything under 1 is going to be good to at least get it started. All right, so I'm going to go straight in the center of the brake. Oop, careful. Just trying to chop off to the side here, and we don't want that. And it's okay if you go all the way like through one side and into the center. That's okay, but don't go all the way through. I mean, you can, but I'd rather you not have to go all the way through it, because just in case, if this wasn't on this particular figure and it was a different joint that might be visible, you don't want to drill a hole all the way through here. Brian Pena, my thoughts on Ant-Man 3. I thought it was a blast, dude. I had a lot of fun. I won't spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it, but it was really cool because it felt like a Hank Pym and a Janet film, and I thought that was awesome. I thought it was really cool. Thought they did. It's really CG heavy, but it's really good CG. Like it's very good CG. There's a character in the movie that has like a laser cannon for a head that I absolutely loved. This character, my wife leans over to me while we're watching the movie, and she's like, "That looks like a character that's going to be on your shelf soon." I was like, "Man, if they make him, I'll buy him." But yeah, I enjoyed it. I like the Marvel movies, man. I think they're really fun and just enjoyable. I don't. There's kind of crazy though, like whenever you're talking about Marvel and comic films, and like how these like deeper conversations start coming out of them, and how people complain about things about inclusivity and things being changed. And I was like, dude, things get changed because the world changes. Like, just let it go. Just enjoy it. Super comic book film. Just there to have. It's fun. The acting was good. Story was fun. It was good. It was just cool. I don't know. I think people look for like such a deeper meaning in a lot of comic films these days, and it's like, dude, just kind of there to have some fun. I mean, if it sucks, it sucks. But it's like, man, the days of like, I don't know, the days of like really crappy comic book films are fewer and farther between, I would say. So that's good. That's always good. I'm trying to just make this hole a little larger right now. I like kind of carefully going to the outside a little bit. I want to make sure that the screw's going to fit. Since we got our hole drilled in here now. You don't want to have it too close to the edge when you start putting this in, because what can happen is it could pop out that plastic on the interior, and it can cause a big problem for whenever you try to reinsert this guy in. I'm trying to get this thing in here. Where'd it go? There it is. Let's try it again. Actually, what I did earlier, I want to say I used this guy. Oh boy, Danko, I don't want to get into it really, but I think the word woke these days just means people don't agree with that lifestyle. And at that point, I can say, too bad, because it exists. It just exists. People are gonna be people. People are people, man. You imagine like the first you know what's funny? I guarantee you what would have happened back in the days whenever electricity was invented. Had the word woke been there, they'd be like, oh, look at them. They're using that electricity, that witchcraft, those woke guys over there. Me? Mm-mm. I run my life on dirt. Dirt and sunlight and fire. None of this woke electricity stuff. People just it just takes people a while to come around. Whenever something that they hate that actually doesn't hurt them exists, they will eventually, I think, accept it or adapt to it. Otherwise, you just end up with people hating people for no reason. Ask somebody why they hate something. Start asking people questions instead of arguing and see how they react. It's interesting whenever people actually have to have an internal dialogue with themselves, like, why do I hate that? Because I don't understand it. And I feel stupid because I don't understand it. There you go. It's just kind of it's interesting. People are so weird. Oh boy. Anyways, there's my soapbox for today. All right, let's get back to we can't fix humanity, but I can definitely fix this figure. Let's get back to that. So we've got this guy going in, which is what we wanted. Let's see, it's 2:26. We're doing good on time. All right, so our screw went in good. Let's double check, make sure this one will. It was a little easier to screw that one in because it's got the rounded head still on it. That one's not straightened out yet. This one's just a little... There we go. That goes in just the way we want it to. All right. All right, now next, we take our JB Super Weld here. And what I like to do is I will start inserting the screw here just to get it started, just a few turns. And then we're going to grip the ball peg here. And while we've got that gripped, we're going to go ahead and add a dab of the Super Weld. Let's see, we'll go ahead and take a snapshot of that after we drop our phone. See if I can get an artsy shot here. It's hard because like you can't read the label on my Super Weld anymore because I've used it so often that the label's worn down. That's how you know it's good. And we gotta also be careful. Make sure that you can see the end of the screw coming out. Remember earlier, we don't want it to be too far in because we don't want it to enter through the center or exit, I guess, into the center. Because that would be bad. All right, so now that we've got that out, what we can do is, let me grab a shot of this real fast and then we will insert this, and then all we got to do is wait for it to dry. So let's go ahead and, if I can get this thing to focus, it's kind of tough. There we go. All right. Let's go ahead and see if I can't grab this without getting glue all over my fingers. All right. So let's go ahead and add a piece of, or dollop, a dab of Super Weld. And then we will find the hole we drilled. And we will insert it. And it looks, man, it looks like I might have actually got, there might be a little bit of a bump right here. I think I just glued my watch. Put the top back on that. It looks like I might have added a little bump here where this is connecting. Let me double check, make sure it's not just glue. But sometimes that happens. Sometimes you got to kind of sand that down a little bit. It's tough because you want to get it as close to the, yeah, it was mostly glue. You want to get it as close to like the center, because the way the ball works, it's supposed to basically halfway overlap the peg. So when this connects here like this, it's just kind of even. It's right in the center. This actually is looking pretty good, but what I think I'm going to do is we're going to let that dry first, and then we'll come in with our sanding bit, basically, and we'll basically take a since it's circular, you can come in like this, and so it'll sand down without like destroying the integrity of the center disc here, but also kind of gives you like a little rounded arch right here on the ball peg, which is exactly what you need when putting this back on, so it ends up smoother and working the way it's supposed to. And you can see like right there. Let's see if you can see this. So see where that peg connects right there. You can barely see it. It's not focusing as great, but you can see like how it's kind of got a little slight arc, so it can swap back and forth, swivel, so it can swivel. And what we'll do is we'll actually, before we cut off this piece of metal right here, it'll give us something to actually hold on to. And you want to be careful. You don't want to sit there and hold that with your fingers, just in case you are hitting a piece of the screw. It could heat up, and that could be a problem. So anytime you gotta sand down a screw like that, you want to make sure that you got your safety glasses on, just in case any kind of screw or plastic or adhesive or any of that stuff wants to go flying. You don't want that in your eyeballs, because that would be terrible. Let's just sand it a little bit. Doesn't even need a whole lot. I just want to make sure it's good. Check it from both sides here. Okay. And also what's going to happen here next is we have to be careful with this, but when we do reattach this arm, what can happen in this process is that inserting this screw into this ball peg here can actually make that ball peg expand a bit, and that's always can be an issue, because if it got stuck before because the ball peg was too big, and now you've just made it larger, you don't want that. Hey, Chrisman, man, I feel like I haven't talked to you in 35 minutes. It just feels like forever. Also, Danko Tooney, thanks for showing up today. I like your outlook on life. Just want to throw that out there, and I appreciate that. It's always wonderful whenever you get people out there who just want life to be better and happy, and want everybody to be happy, and instead of attacking others' beliefs, views, or opinions. It's always good. I'm just kind of sanding this down. Honestly, I'm kind of killing some time right now while this dries. Sometimes you can kind of go in and find a few little anomalies that need to be wiped out, like we were sanding this down a minute ago, and we had to cut this down, and it originally, since it got twisted off, essentially, there's a few pieces that could be sanded down and made a little more smooth. So we definitely want to do that. Yep, and after this stream, like I was talking to my patrons before this. It was cool, man. We got a whole group on earlier. It was awesome. It was really cool. I hate that everybody's available today because I gotta leave. I will probably be back on later tonight for my Discord people and whatnot. But I'm gonna be meeting up with my main man Ori. He's a great friend of mine. I haven't got to see him in a long time. He's been really busy. I've been really busy, and we're gonna go catch some. We're gonna go to a Target, and we're gonna get some food tonight, and just chill out for a little bit, and then probably go our separate ways for another year or so. No, hopefully not. Hopefully not. But I will be seeing him in a minute, and I'll send a photo for you guys so you know he's alive and I'm alive, and it's not a joke. You know. Watching while customizing a Guy Gardner's Legend scale. Ooh, cool. Great stream as usual. 10 Universe Presents. That's a new name. I like that. I like seeing that. Yeah, Chrisman's asking 10, what body are you using? That's awesome, man. What version of Guy? Just green lantern? Or red lantern? Probably green lantern. I love that red lantern look he had. So cool. You gotta get him a construct baseball bat. It's the best. It's just the best. To me, like, Guy Gardner is such a melee guy. When I look at him, I'm like, man, he needs like a giant like crescent wrench. Would be awesome. A big old, that'd be fun. It would be. You know what they need to do is just have one. Either the hand can plug in, or a piece that plugs in over the hand, that goes over the hand. I think if it was actually on the hand, it'd be cooler. But like a plug-in or whatever that has the effect kind of coming out, and then kind of bowl it out and put a hole in there like a peg hole, and then you could attach all of the different constructs to it, instead of it being like, you know what I mean? Like, instead of it being, it's always like 2 or 3 like pieces or whatever, or sometimes they don't even connect to the item. I was like, oh man, I love it. I would love to see like constructs that actually plug in to something, so you could always plug those in instead of constantly having to swap something out or whatnot, like with the different hands or whatnot. Just one hand with the effect piece and then pop it in. A lot of times though, they're those constructs that just like go over a hand, which I guess that's cool too, because then if you ended up using it on future figures, it would make sense, but it'd be cool. Using a Star-Lord with a arcade head that I gave a haircut to. I bet you did, dude. Dude, he looks hilarious. A massive green middle finger would be good for, yeah, that'd be great for him. Esteban, I saw you say, ew, no. Are you talking about his Red Lantern design? I thought he was awesome. He had that beard. He was all crazy. Made sense. That'd go great with Lobo. Yeah, man, could you imagine Lobo getting a hold of a power ring? Ugh. Bad times. Okay. So I think this guy is dried good enough to where... Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Madness over here. Did y'all hear that? Okay. Take a picture. Yeah, dude. I bet you... Man, 10 Universe. I don't know if you're into like 3D printing or anything like that, but dude, you could get like clear casts, and then all you got to do... And guys, if you don't know about this, I'm sure a lot of you do. I know my man Creeper knows about this. The Tamiya paints transparent colors, which I think I have one of all of them, unless they've come out with new ones. But this is not one. Hang on. Here we go. These guys right here, the Tamiyas are awesome, man. This is like, so this one's X27. This is clear red. You paint this guy on to either chrome or a transparent, and it goes transparent and red. It's amazing. This is super, super cool. Like, they've got red. Last time I checked, and the ones I have, they've got red, yellow, blue, green, orange. Thank you. Red, blue, green, orange, yellow. That might be it. There might be more, but that's all I can think of. So you almost nailed down a lot of your lanterns right off the bat. And I can show you just an example. This is like I was going to do an Orson Rand custom forever ago, and I just wasn't happy with the parts I ever found, so I never finished it. But I did, however, get these like transparent guns from a friend, and so I started working on them. I dropped one just now. I'll find it later. Oh, there we go. And so just to give you an idea, let's say you wanted yellow lantern guns. These were going to be Chi guns, but this is with the yellow. This is clear resin with the yellow Tamiya just painted on, maybe, and it goes on nice and smooth. So this might have been one dunk in the bottle and then just painted over. But yeah, you can see it goes on nice and smooth. And yeah, it's really cool. And I've got a ton of lightsabers I've painted with it as well that came out really well. So that's kind of cool. Oh, my Orson Randall that never came to be. It's a shame. All right, so let's go ahead and finish this guy off. All right, let's see what we got going on here. So we're going to go ahead and take this. We're going to put the end clipper here. Hold on to it. A lot of times what you can do is actually put that in a plastic bag and cut it. Although this gave me a lot of grip, so I'm good. Let's go ahead, put on our safety goggles here, because we're going to need to sand this down because there's a little peg that happens. These cut pretty close. I don't know if there's a pair that will cut closer, but there's usually almost always a little piece kind of standing out there, and so we want to sand that down. Going to sand this down. What I usually do is I sand it down until I kind of start seeing the plastic getting hit, basically. That's how I know it's nice and flat. I'm kind of going in around. You don't want to sand down too much like of the ball though. Like I said earlier, it might be bigger now, but you got to be really careful if you're like sanding down a rounded sphere, because we are human, and you might end up making it a little oblong and then it won't fit properly. So I'm just kind of going in. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll look at it from different angles, make sure that every angle is nice and rounded. That looks good. I'll just like a couple light taparoos there. Just tap it in. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I think this is about the same size. This is one of the medium-sized burr bits. I just want to kind of take a look in here. Whatever caused this to break in the first place, we don't want that to happen again. So a lot of times I'll take this on a lower level, put it inside, and I'll just kind of go around a little bit from the outside to the inside, just to make sure there's nothing like in there that was causing a problem. Okay, so Chrisman, I'll definitely take another photo. It's been a minute since me and Ori got a photo together. We have plenty, but I can definitely do that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and, I just feel like I need to sand this down a little bit more. I feel like it's not going to fit as flush as I want it to. There we go. I think that'll be fine. Okay, so now we're going to take this and we're going to press this together. I feel like this is... Alright, let's try it. Okay. So now that we've got it back together, you can kind of see... Man, this... I think what might have happened, this might have been too tight. Because it's like... What's crazy is this is kind of way looser. I've never actually had that happen before. And what you can do in a situation like that is you can put a little glue here to tighten up that spot. And you're not even going to see... The only time you can actually see any of this is if you were to raise his armpit and look right in this small section here. In fact, what might happen is when we put this all back together, it might not even matter. A lot of times what can happen with these pieces too is things can get really messed up by too many parts. Like, look at this. This is like 1, 2, 3, 4. And even these 4 parts have other parts inside of them. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and put this thing back together. and we're going to see if that takes care of some of that, some of the lost tension that we have here now. Because what can happen is you can put all these back together, and then all of a sudden you're good to go. I believe that's how. Let me make sure that this is how this works. Let's put it on right. Okay, so we've got this part right here, which faces outward, which means this guy goes in here. Yeah, look at that. It actually presses that. It presses that shut. So that's good. And then what else do we have here? We've got this arm here that goes into this, and I guess this right here connects here. And then this will connect to this. Man, he actually did most of the work, so that's really cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop this on here. If we can. Gosh dang, that's really going to be, that's a tight fit. And these are hard plastics too, so you got to be, first off, we want to be really careful that we don't like push on our peg too hard. Oh, that's good. That's not too bad. Okay, cool. All right. So just kind of looking at it, I want to make sure that this is also kind of rounded out a little bit. Looking good. Sometimes you can just kind of see little anomalies in your plastic if you look at it before you go popping it in there. Because you got to be really careful. Like when you do put this in, you want to test it and make sure that, like when you start pulling it to the side and to the front, you want to make sure that this guy's like, it's in there, but it's not going to break your piece. It might be a little more loose. You might not get the same tension from before if you fix it this way, because you know, we've had to shave down a bit of it. So let's see. All right, so we've popped it in. Let's see how tight it is. Yeah, feels good. All the way around. You always want to test both sides. And then you also want to make sure that you can see from the inside, is it moving? Whenever you twist it, is it moving both sides, or is it just moving one side? I wish I could show you guys this. I don't know. I don't think I can. But you can see, like, whenever you're bending this right here, you have to look on the inside of that crack right there to see, is that ball peg moving with it as well? If it's not, you need to stop moving it and try to pull it out again, because that means you do not have a solid hold, which would happen with a nail almost every single time, or a pin. With a screw, it's better, but if you put it in too tight, then you've got, that's a problem. So this guy is officially repaired. Like I said, there's like a small seam right here that you can see on it, but other than that, we're good to go. You'll never hardly see that unless he was to get like a hard close-up, and even then it just looks like a figure. You know what I mean? There's nothing weird about that. So looks good, man. This proud of this one, happy with this one. So yeah, we can pop this guy back on and be good. I wonder if I could, I didn't get like all the photos I wanted of it, so now I'm like, is it stupid to try to take this thing apart? Is it worth trying to do that? Yeah, that's how you know it's really good, if it comes out like that. I'm just trying to pop this thing out so I can get photos, which is stupid. But you always want to be there for your clients and for people who are looking at my work and whatnot, and wanting to fix things themselves. I want to make sure that they've got this as a guide, and hopefully I like to follow almost every step. I'll never live it down, man. I'll never live that YouTube clip down where people were like, you didn't show the hand going in at the end, which is the most important part. And I was like, what? I was like, the most important part was getting the figure fixed, I thought. No, I was wrong. So anyways, it just still cracks me up. I'm like, well, you know, I mean, as ridiculous as it was and as petty as my response was, I was like, yeah, I still got to make sure that Everything's there, which is kind of crazy because a lot of times, you know, you think like with today's like attention spans, they're so short. And a lot of times I was like, and as a video editor in my career, a lot of times I'm like, man, you know, the faster the better. You want to get all that stuff out of there. You don't want to sit there and just be stuck watching, you know, something forever long. And people seem to really enjoy the longer videos sometimes. It just blows my mind. Like in a world of TikTok and all that stuff, but it's like everything's super fast, and yet it comes to an instructional video, you need it to be informative, but also very in depth, I guess. I'll take care, Ninth Archer. It's good seeing you, man. Good talking to you earlier, too. Okay, what we have to do now is we actually have to heat up this piece right here. You can see that's a really, really small hole that has to fit on this. So this guy was really, I'm not gonna lie, this client was really good about getting these pieces off without doing any extra damage. So props. Big props. So what I usually do is I'll hold onto something like this with my pliers so I don't burn my hand. I'll heat this up. You want to be careful though, you don't want to heat it up too much to where it starts curling in this like looks like it's a little bracer. And test it. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll pop this on. If we can. Let's go ahead and give this a little twist maybe. I think that's in. Man, that's a really... Yeah, that's in. Okay, cool. It's a really snug fit. That's a tiny hole. That's nuts. Okay, cool. So this goes off to the side here. And then this goes to the side. And now we're going to go ahead and... Here, I'll go ahead and take a photo of this. We're going to have a fun photo of... Look at this. This is my little Dragon Ball Billy here. Dragon Bill Z, maybe? Maru Saga? This is me with my little hair, my little ponytail. My little bun in the back here. You know, like that? That's so I can fix Dragon Ball figures, because I fix anime figures all the time. I was like, I'd like an anime version of myself, so it doesn't look like this realistic version is always doing that. So it's kind of fun. Let's see if we can't. I feel like I'm all happy. I actually have I did all the faces for this too. Like I did all the different, all these different. It was like yelling, side-eye angry, just kind of upset. So cool. Yeah. So I think that about does it for Frieza. We got him taken care of. And, yeah, I think he's good. Nice bicep repair vid. Man, Esteban, that freaking was nuts. I will never forget that. Like, you didn't show that going, like, putting it on. I was like, oh, man. Like, you just push it on. Like, the same way that you took it off, you just do that in reverse. And I guess these people on YouTube were like, I don't understand how to do that part. Like it cuts to the next scene and like it's already in. And they're like, what the heck, man? That's the most important part. I'm like, what? I was like, the most important part? It's not like, it's like if you had to change the tires in a car and they're like, you didn't show them getting into the car and driving off. That's the most important part. I'm like, I don't agree, but okay, I get it. I get it. So, anyways, that's life. Sorry, taking a picture here. I'm gonna get it ready. All right, just to show you guys proof. Arms all done, ready to go. We'll just pop that in. Feeling very confident with that now. That's nice. It's actually got it's the friction on it's really nice. Cool. Yeah, I don't know how Frieza sounds. Yeah, that was pretty good. I think that was probably the best Frieza impression ever. I just had to stop myself right in the middle of that one. All right, guys. Thank you. Cool. It's 2:55, so we got done a little early today. Once again, thank you guys always for your support, and especially my patrons, and no, just extra thanks to them, but also especially to everybody that watches me. I do appreciate that. Once again, join the Discord if you want to keep up with what's the shenanigans with the Toychanics or the Instagram, or if you're feeling extra spendy, you can join the Patreon. There's a shows you the web address down there, patreon.com/BillMaru. I'm going to be focusing a lot more on that. This is going to be the last public stream for a while, not due to really Patreon, but kind of. I've got a big fat project coming up that I'm going to be sharing in my Patreon with some people, just because it's a tight knit group and I don't have to focus so hard on this massive public worldly view on things, so I can just kind of keep it in there, and then I'll obviously drip bits of it out to the public and whatnot, get you guys interested and get you guys still hopefully you'll still give a crap about all this stuff. I still have other repairs. There'll still be free tutorials coming out. There'll still be the photos on Instagram and all that stuff, but I do want to start focusing on classes where I can actually get more close and one-on-one with people, to teach them how to do that. The classes will be paid. They won't be too much, but I know, like, I was thinking maybe $45 a ticket to each class. I've been kind of throwing that number around, and then depending on what tier of the Patreon, you don't have to be a Patreon member to buy a ticket to these classes, and it'll be one of those things where you know what the subject is, and we will also choose like what day and times kind of work better for people, and then we can go move around that. But what we'll do is, whatever tier of the Patreon you're in, you'll actually get 5, 10, or $15 off. So in the three tiers, which I thought would be kind of neat incentive. Not to mention, if you're paying like, the cheapest one, then you get a little bit back. But anyways, that's enough selling myself on that stuff. I'm terrible at it. Love you guys. I will be back, I'm sure, maybe in April, maybe in May, but I'll definitely be around in Discord. Please join the Discord if you can. It's really fun in there, man. We've got toy hunters. We've got weekly challenges that kind of spruce you up on your posing. There's no judgment in there. We have a funny group. We have a good group, and a caring group. We have toy hunters in there. We have a little marketplace that we've built a really nice tight group in, and you can one-on-one message me. We have group chats in there. We have group video chats. It's all the time. It's really fun in Discord, and I've just made some really great friends in there, and I hope to make more. But we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, always. And as I always say, take care of each other out there. And don't forget that the impossible just takes a little longer. Really hope to see you in the Discord. Looking forward to showing you guys some cool stuff. Peace. And don't forget, Dave Wonder's actually got an awesome Discord going on right now, and a Patreon as well. I think it's patreon.com/Dave Wonder. And